So, hello and welcome to the 44th edition of Trendz Talks. As you know, we started this during the pandemic to address some of the limiting challenges that are arising during this period. And we thought that things were normal and getting better. However, there seems to be a temporary lockdown scenario again propping up because of the rising cases. So, we have decided to start our sessions again during this period. We record most of our sessions on YouTube, and some of our subscribers, I'd recommend them to watch them in full. So today's session would be law as a career, and we have Aditya Pratap, who's an advocate and a practicing lawyer. Apart from practicing legal issues, he also has got his own charitable trust, and he writes on diverse articles in on real estate, infrastructure, and environment, and is also participating in several conference seminars and regular on TV debates. So here's over to Aditya to talk on today's subject, career in law. So over to you, Aditya.
Thank you so much, Krishna, for the really nice introduction. I really appreciate your good wishes, and I will continue my efforts towards the service of society and the profession. Law, as you know, has been an age-old profession. Law has served to regulate humanity. Law has always been a point of doubt for people, a point of curiosity for people of how it works, how it operates. And of course, it is an evergreen profession which always requires a trained pool of talent graduating every year to fill its ranks and ensure that members of the public and the business community and others have access to quality legal aid and assistance at all times. Now, when we look at the profession as a whole, how does a person enter law in India? To begin with, I will first speak on the demand for good lawyers. Well, there is a great demand for good lawyers. As you know that the primary function of the state has been to regulate. There are several people who are opponents of regulation, but I say the very purpose of the state's existence is to ensure that there is no anarchy in society, that there is no so-called jungle raj. And therefore, as the time passes, one can expect that the legal regime will become more and more complicated and intricate. And as more and more people become aware of their rights and gain the confidence to approach the courts, there is likely to be a spurt in litigation, and therefore people can always look at the law as an evergreen profession, and they can hone the talents towards entering it. Now, whenever people hear about the word lawyers, several stereotypes come to light. The most common stereotype, as you know, is the concept is Tariq pe Tariq, which Sunny Deol made famous in his movie. Then, of course, you have the stereotypes of India's highly paid senior counsels who earn almost 50 lakhs to 1 crore a day. So people think that the legal profession is a gold mine, and therefore you see the number of candidates applying for this profession has gone up tenfold. I'll just pause for a moment. You're on mute. So
Yeah, you may continue now.
yes. So now the point is, in this evergreen environment, when people want to enter law, what is the first step? The first step towards entering law is to choose the right law college. And this is where my first bit of important advice will come in. Today, when people have to choose their law college, what do they look at? They'll straight away open the India Today rankings, which is rank number 1, rank number 2, rank number 3. And then when they get the form of the common law admission test, they will fill up the rankings accordingly as per the India Today. And that is why you have National Law School of India, Bangalore, which will get the first preference. NALSAR, which is my college, NALSAR, National Academy of Legal Studies and Research, which will get the second preference. NUJS, Calcutta gets the third preference, and so on. So people, accordingly, there's a herd mindset of going by the India Today rankings and choosing your law school based on that. I say this is completely irrelevant. It would be extremely foolish to choose your law college on the basis of the so-called India Today rankings. Rather, go the American way. look beyond the Ivy League and instead do a realistic assessment of the college and its faculty members. I say that let's suppose you've given your 12th. You want to, or let's suppose you're in class 12. You want to look at some good law colleges. First of all, look for a college which is nearby your place or which is in a good city like Mumbai, Delhi, Pune, Bengaluru, any good law college. Go there and visit the faculty members. And when you interact with the faculty members, try and see how many of those faculty members have either practiced as advocates or are practicing advocates, which is very important. I always advise people that choose that college where maximum percentage of faculty members are practicing advocates, because they alone can give you practical knowledge. Now, I'm not here to discount the value of college. A lot of people say that college is not required, only your internships teach you, only working with an advocates teach you. I will say that is true. Going by the standard of instruction in today's colleges, even the top national law schools, they will not at all prepare you for the practical realities of the legal profession. And this is because the LLB curriculum is wrongly structured. It is more tailor-made to suit subjects like sociology and political science and all these things, subjects which have almost negligible relevance in the practical profession. Rather, in fact, I can tell you for a fact that I studied BA LLB honors in Nalsar for 5 years, and Nalsar is India's #2 ranked law school. Can you believe it that in my entire 5 years of BA LLB course there, not once was I taught how to read a corporate financial statement. Not once I was taught basic financial skills or how to read a company's annual report, how to analyze a business, nothing. Instead, be it the Bar Council, everyone, they place maximum importance on the BA LLB honors course, which is the Bachelor of Arts and LLB. I say the Bachelor of Arts component is mostly irrelevant, and I would not hesitate to call the BA component as a waste of time. That is why when you choose a law school, don't run after the top. If you run after the top law schools, you will only feed their institutional arrogance, and then they will not have the incentive to alter the curriculum to suit industry requirements. Why has Jindal Global Law School apparently been ranked as India's #1 law school, even though it's a private law school? Now, again, as I said, I don't go by rankings, but I have observed that many private universities, because they charge fee at high rates from students, they are also accountable towards their students. And that is why a private law school would go the extra mile towards making its curriculum industry relevant. So this brings me to my second point, that when you're choosing a law school, don't run after the fact that it is a national law school or it is a government law college. Nothing. It is better to study in a private law school where most of the faculty members are practicing advocates, and at the same time, try choosing a course like BBA LLB or BCom LLB, or even moving beyond this nomenclature, try merging law with business and finance, so that when you, let's suppose you want to take placement in a corporate law firm after your 5th year, so you will be well acquainted to studying the health of companies. In fact, if you're working in a corporate law firm and you're asked to make a draft red herring prospectus, the first thing you will have to do is run through the entire documents and financials of the company, do the due diligence and so on. So which is where I feel that it is high time that the importance of the BA LLB course should be relegated, and instead subjects which are of interest to the world of business are instead brought in to substitute subjects like political science and sociology. Mark my words, sociology, anthropology of law and violence, law and poverty, and all these so-called humanities subjects, they are, mark my words, almost useless for the practical world. Let me come to my third point. We have, while I said that the manner in which humanities subjects are taught renders them almost useless to a practical experience, I would also like to state that legal education in India suffers from several flaws. First of all, even important subjects, like for instance, I will not hesitate to say that the nobility and integrity of several subjects has been compromised by a vested interest comprising academia and others. Like simple subjects are made so convoluted and so dragging that the lectures become a bore, and it is to ensure that the faculty member is able to fill in his course credits and his entire, he expands the curriculum or stretches it rather to fill his faculty hours so that his job is assured. That is why I feel that important subjects like legal history are never taught in the proper manner. There'll be some, like I'm telling you, the importance of things like the Bill of Rights and Magna Carta. I learned more on Wikipedia. And appreciated the importance better rather than hours and hours of lectures which I had in law school. So my first advice to students is look before you leap. No matter how prestigious or lionized the institution is, view it with the same criticality as you would do with any other random institution. Because more than giving your money, you are investing your time there. Now, once you get into a law college, I feel you should get into law only if you have an interest in the profession. If you are there just for the heck of it, do not hesitate to walk out. So ensure that you're on the law course only if you're interested. And when you're interested in, and when you're studying in the course, always ensure that you grasp the fundamentals of the subject you're studying. Be it contract, be it torts, understand the subject in simple language, understand the conceptual structure of the subject. Moment a faculty member is trying to drool you into hours and hours of monotonous lectures, raise the red flag. Because if you don't raise the red flag, the troubles for you in the future will only amplify. Now, how important are internships to a law student? I believe that internships are very important. On a lighter note, there's this joke I crack in office that rather than pay money and study in a law school, if an LLB degree was optional, it would be better to do internship in a lawyer's office, learn the law hands-on, and even get paid in the process. So I always stress that doing an internship is a very good thing. But if your academics are good, see, in most law colleges in India, and especially the top-tiered law colleges, the academics are so odious, the curriculum is so boring, I would not hesitate to say that, and verbose and so on, that it is many students find it better to do internships. Rather, I feel the teachers themselves should take it upon themselves to teach crisp, relevant content, which is summarized and short. And then the students can proceed for the internships. When you intern, always suggest that don't go behind big brand name firms, because any big brand name firm will not assign an intern work. They will, or mostly because the senior guys will be paid by the clients to do the work themselves. Rather, I suggest look for a small law office, look for a small lawyer where you can hone your skills better. And coming to internships, let me move on to placements. The number one factor behind every student who chooses a law school is what is the placement record. People feel that after 5 years in college, there should be a job waiting at the end of it. I say that this is a very one-sided rosy view which has been put. You join the law school thinking that you have a red carpet route to placements. That is not the case. Any company which comes on the campus will grill you, and they will only select the best. So don't be surprised if you join a top-tier law school expecting a big placement package and you walk away with a package of barely a fraction of that. Which is why I say, don't be a fan of placements. Instead, focus on making your skills as practically relevant as possible so that people will immediately hire you. So that people will hire you without even looking at your college. So yes, I will not hesitate to downplay the importance of a so-called top-tier law college, and rather I would encourage people to focus on a law college which truly caters to their needs and where the faculty members have maximum practical experience. Now, number two, if we move beyond this, law as a career. When you take up law as a career, you have several options. You can join the legal department of a company, you can join a small law office, you can join a practicing counsel, you can even join a corporate law firm. I leave the choice to the concerned student. At this juncture, I will narrate my story. That when I entered the profession, right from day one, my objective was that my skills and my knowledge should be as relevant to the industry as possible. And I had decided that the moment I would pass out, I had acquired enough, I would say, field knowledge that I can set up my own law practice, which I did. I established Aditya Pratap Law Offices in 2013. And right from the very outset, while I had a few captive clients of mine, a few of my retailership clients, I did not hesitate to go the extra mile and take up cases for the poor and the downtrodden, because they will give you tough matters. The people who require legal aid. In fact, I say if you want to launch your career, just assist litigants in a lower courts, magistrates courts, people who require legal aid. You assist them. In fact, when I also started my practice, maximum cases of mine were from the magistrates and the sessions courts. And only after a few years did I start graduating to the High Court and then arguing a few matters in the Supreme Court. So I feel the lower courts are a great place to start out. You should cover trial advocacy. You should know what are document, what is the law of evidence, what is civil procedure, what is criminal procedure. In fact, a few dedicated years in the lower courts will automatically give you such a good foundation and ground experience that the moment that after a few years pass, once you get a hands-on work, your commercial prospects will multiply. So yes, don't be afraid of a slow start. Hard work followed by a meteoric rise a few years down the line. Yes. So yeah. So that is how that is what I would advise young minds entering the legal profession to consider.
Thank you, Aditya. It was a good summary of what you've thought and about the field. So, let's say a common citizen wants to gain additional knowledge of law. Where does he look for? Does he rely on Google or Wikipedia, or is there a way to brush his skill?
Can you repeat your question?
So, can you hear me, Aditya?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, if a common person wants to know about law, where does he go to?
Usually, Google is the first thing. And these days, there are so many legal websites. There's so much that people can instantly get an idea of what their rights are, what laws apply to them by just looking up Google. And people are welcome to acquaint themselves with the latest articles on law and all the information available. However, when they file a case in court, it is always advisable to engage an advocate because of two reasons. And I'm not saying this as an advocate. It is because, first of all, and while you may know your case, while as a client you may know your case, you may also know the law. It is the lawyer who knows how to present the case. And especially in today's time-constrained judiciary, judges want the lawyer to be as precise and apt as possible. They want your drafts to be short. And as a lawyer, you have the ability to summarize and to remove the irrelevant and stick to the relevant. So I feel that the right client-attorney engagement is that the client knows his facts well. The client has a good idea of the client has a good idea of the law, so that the client need not make any unrealistic expectations from his attorney. And then the client as an informed person can approach the attorney and seek legal guidance. I always say, even in fact as a lawyer, I always welcome clients who are informed and aware of their rights, so that I can converse with them much better and I can better elaborate them as to the nature of the legal strategy which they should follow in their case.
Thank you, Aditya. You also mentioned in your talk about honing relevant skills. So, where does one look for these kind of platforms? What is a method to upskill yourself here?
See now, okay, this is a very pertinent question, but the answer is not so simple. Because when a person is learning law, a lot of law schools follow and even the top law schools, the biggest culprits in this regard are the top law schools, is that they follow a very, superfluous and archaic curriculum, which is a complete disappointment. If a person after spending lakhs of rupees and 5 years in law school does not know how to draft, I get very, very upset, especially when I take interviews, and then we have to train them. So I feel that if you want to hone your practical skills, first, a student should put pressure on his teacher and hold his law professors accountable so that they only teach him what is relevant. The skills, like if you're teaching contract law, you're teaching labor law. Teach as if they were to argue a case in the labor law. If you want to learn some practical legal skills, I say join the lawyer's office and start handling his filing work in the High Court. What are objections? What are the High Court appellate side rules? What are the High Court original side rules? What are the testamentary side rules of the Bombay High Court? What is the civil manual, the criminal manual for the lower courts? So I feel that hands-on application of these manuals and procedure rules, they really help a person gain a good understanding of the legal profession.
So Aditya,
And then,
you moved into diverse field.
yeah, tell me.
Yeah, you also moved into diverse field, right? Like infrastructure
Oh,
or
yes.
environment. Yeah. So how did you learn about all this? And it's not easy.
That's a good question. Actually, I would say that I have a very good ability to conceptually understand any field and come to the relevance. I also benefit from a vast general knowledge. So always, and you've hit upon the right point, I always encourage law students that please expand your general knowledge. Read the newspaper regularly. Have knowledge about multiple fields because you'll have to work in electricity law, you'll have to work in real estate law. You should know what is flow space index, what is transferable development rights. Industry knowledge always helps a lawyer. And again, I feel that law schools are very, very lacking when it comes to imparting industry knowledge to students. In fact, I as a law student had to go the extra mile to ensure that such shortfalls did not affect me in my career.
Right. So do you think, both your parents are lawyers, right, Aditya? So
Yes,
do you think talking about the subject helped actually during your law days when you were
that's
in
a good
college?
question. But you may note that that's a good question. Yes, my parents are very good lawyers and we have good discussions on law, which really helped. And I feel, it is this like my father's very good in real estate infrastructure, my mother's very good in criminal, human rights, and family law. Then I have my own skill set of environment and commercial disputes and family matters and so on. So I feel a good intermixing and interaction really helps foster. But even if you come from a non law family, if your law school has the right curriculum, which is completely industry oriented, then also you can prosper in the profession.
Right. So what were your challenges? When you started this, what were your initial challenges? And also during COVID, what were some of the shortfalls that you had to face?
See, every lawyer's young career is fraught with challenges, and I say you should have the approach of bring it on. The first challenge is getting a client base. I say if you don't have clients and you want to build a client base, start taking cases of the poor man. And you'll find cases, no worries. Start taking cases pro bono, be in the field, be out there arguing. You will get noticed, the media will pick you up, and moment your words start spreading, more and more people will come to you. So that is how you can start your practice if you do not have a industry ready clientele. Number two is during COVID times, well, there's an age old saying, ant and the grasshopper, that when the weather was good, the ant was collecting food for the winter. When the winter came, the grasshopper had nothing, the ant had everything. So I feel, COVID times, number one is that, well, the courts are shut, the courts are shut. You have to wait for the situation to improve. And the judiciary will take its own sweet time to adapt to the digital age. So you cannot hold your personal life hostage to that. So let's suppose if the profession comes to a grinding halt, because if you're a litigator, your profession depends on the functioning of the courts. On this point, it is good to have a diversified practice because certain courts may shut down, certain courts may continue running. So having a diversified practice across the civil and criminal domains and the lower and higher courts really helps. Second, apart from this, it also helps if you have, whatever financial earnings are, you should stock up for a rainy day so that in case your practice does not run, your savings come in use. And I feel the very earliest, a lawyer should always, when he's earning, he should save so that he can, purchase his office, purchase his own residence so that he is secure on a financial front also. Because, as a lawyer, you have to ensure that your clients pay up, so you should have a good team. So you should have meticulousness to ensure that not only you service the client, but the client also is punctual in paying his fees and so on. Because once you've done the work for the client, you have every right to be paid your fees. And I feel that a lawyer, a lawyer faces the ultimate hardships in any profession, and therefore he has to be extremely prepared and vigilant should any eventuality arise.
So can you elaborate on the thing when you say you need to have a good team? So what do you need to have exactly?
I feel you should have a few good associate advocates who can go and handle the miscellaneous dates in court, file the filings, the replies, and so on, while you as a lawyer can focus on the effective arguments of the case. Then you can also have a team of interns to assist you in subsidiary matters. You'll require an office assistant, an office boy, a filing clerk is not required because your office assistant can do that, or even your interns. So yes, you can adapt your team structure with the passing time, and accordingly you can work on it.
Right, Aditya, you also are associated with a charitable organization. Would you want to talk about it?
Yes, I'm part of the Ransama Charitable Trust. The Ransama Charitable Trust is founded by renowned lawyer Srimati Advocate Aditya Singh. She was famous in challenging the gross injustice being done in the Salman Khan hit and run case. The Ransama Charitable Trust provides a lot of legal aid services and women empowerment. So legal aid is provided in the realm of human rights, criminal law, matrimonial law. Then we have several programs going on in Mumbai and in the villages in Uttar Pradesh, where the maximum patriarchy exists. So we have conducted programs in jails designed to empower women convicts as well as men convicts, so that after they exit, they complete their sentences, they have a proper profession and skill set to fall back on. At the same time, we also keep organizing seminars on legal awareness, and we invite several reputed people to participate and share their views. And during the pandemic, also we distributed a lot of rations and critical necessities so that people could sustain, especially to people who were affected in COVID hotspot areas. And it is our vision now that as time progresses, to expand the spectrum of activities into even areas such as skill development and other charitable activities also.
So how do you see yourself going in the next 5 years?
I see to expand my law practice, and I'm moving more to counsel practice so that I can present cases in court as a counsel, and I should have a strong team to draft cases and present them to me for argument. Then I also intend to broaden the spectrum of a practice, take up more corporate matters, take up more regulatory matters, and that is why, as a lawyer, even though I'm 8 years in the profession, I still strive towards expanding my skill set and ensuring that it is as up to date as possible. And I look forward to expanding my team and expanding the scope and clientele as time passes.
Thank you, Aditya. And any parting remark, anything that you would want to conclude with about the platform?
Thank you so much, Krishna. I wish Trend Talks all the very best. I feel that Trend Talks should go all out, inviting people of substance, people who are achievers, real, and you must know that a word of advice that when you select people who are achievers, don't just go by public relations campaigns. Try finding real people of substance and bringing them on your platform and letting them articulate their views so that maximum people can benefit. You should promote. I also hope that Trend Talks promotes itself as wide as possible and becomes a leading platform for articulation of thoughts in the months and years to come. And also look forward to speaking at more seminars, be it online and even offline. It's been quite a while since we've had any offline events. And I would also encourage Trend Talks to go offline and ensuring that we all can meet in person and have a better time.
Thank you, Aditya. Thank you for your wishes. I hope people would have enjoyed today's session. Thank you again.
Most welcome, Krishna. Most welcome. My pleasure. Thank you.